Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is October 26th, and right now we are looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. You can see what is left of Hurricane Christy is going to be quickly downgraded to a tropical storm, but you can see we're getting some mid-level clouds streaming up over the area. Not a lot in the way of precipitation expected from this. This ridge is going to redevelop and kind of shunt that lower level moisture back to the west. But the big story incoming here is you can see all of this cold air. Look at the cinnamon bun here across the Gulf of Alaska. This is going to be rushing down the west coast of North America and really set up shop across the southwest USA. We are going to drop temperatures down quite noticeably, bring some precipitation across the state, and perhaps some additional reinforcing shots of some cooler air as we go on into the upcoming week. We'll dive into those details as we go through the video here this morning. Take a look at that cold air there, all the popcorn cumulus clouds out across Pacific Ocean. That is what's headed our way, and there is Hurricane Christy here. And like I said, it's going to be quickly downgraded, but you can see it is trying to spread some of that mid-level moisture, kind of the heat transfer of the earth in action right there. Now, we do have this northwest to northeast wind Sunday through Thursday, but I'm not seeing too much in the way of the offshore winds during this time frame here. I'll show you that here in the weather model. So a little bit of disagreement there with what the National Weather Service has been saying. But that being said, as we go through Sunday night into Monday, actually mainly starting Monday night, the winds are going to get pretty strong out of the northwest and out of the west across some of the higher terrain, some of the desert areas as well. And I'll show you that here starting right now with the European. This is hot off the press, is the 12Z red. One of the benefits to doing a later briefing. So put this into motion. We're going to scroll through here. And we do get a little bit of a bump in the winds. As you can see, some of the northwest winds coming down the San Joaquin Valley, down the coastal regions. You start to pick up the westerlies across the higher terrain. But watch as we go on in towards Monday night. Look at these winds right off the coastline here. It's going to be impacting some areas of Santa Barbara and Ventura County. Some strong westerlies ripping across the transverse from the southern Sierra Nevada, the peninsular ranges, the desert areas. And then you can see that north wind rolling down across Nevada. And then as we go on in through very early Tuesday morning, these winds are going to continue for the most part. And we get a little bit of relaxation here. And then we were looking at maybe a little bit of offshore flow, like what the National Weather Service mentioned. But you notice you don't really see that here. We're going through Thursday, and we still got westerlies coming across the Sierra Nevada and across portions of California, and you're not really seeing that offshore flow develop. So kind of some disagreement there. But if we extend far enough off into the future, we may get some high pressure way off into Fantasyland set up across the Great Basin. And then you can see we start to drive some of this offshore wind here. So we'll watch for that one through the extended forecast. Plenty of time to worry about that. No need to really even get in any discussion about it right now. Looking at maximum wind gust over the next 24 hours. This goes all the way on to 11 a.m. Tuesday, actually. This is Monday, I should clarify, Monday morning through Tuesday morning, 11 a.m. You can see this will include some of I-5. There's Hatchapee right there, Mojave, and you see California City and Ridgecrest here. But again, across the higher terrain, some pretty impressive gusts coming in. You could be gusting up over 60 miles per hour across the highest ridges. Now, also, we're going to be cooling off quite dramatically. Like to see the Hanford National Weather Service calling attention to that. You can see Bakersfield. Look at the chance of max temperatures less than 70 degrees. Your virtual lock there for Bakersfield and Fresno and Merced and Hanford. A little bit better odds of getting above 70. But, pretty comfortable temperatures, relatively speaking. But might be kind of a shock to the system for a lot of people out there. You'll probably see a lot of jackets rolling out as we go through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way through Friday and Saturday, Sunday, this up next weekend as well, as we get this cooler air, which I'm going to show you more on here in a moment. There's Hurricane Christy. Should be down to a tropical storm here shortly, and it should be dissipating. But if we take a look here at that low pressure system across the Gulf of Alaska, here's the state of California to the right. There's Hurricane Christy. Hawaiian Islands would be bottom left. So you can see this frontal system. It's kind of an inside slider. It doesn't have a lot of precipitation to work with, but it could be bringing some for the higher terrain all the way down across Southern California. And again, a very cold air mass will accompany that. And then we've got some reinforcing shots potentially as we go through the end of the week. And then we've got an interesting feature here showing up through next weekend. And we'll see just what kind of precipitation chances that will have. We'll be revisiting that here over the next few days. And then we scroll up into the extended forecast, and it's going to want to show you something. You can always look off into the future and see something fun in the fantasy forecast. Look at this low pressure center diving into the Oregon coast, Northwest California, but you're looking 350 hours out. So just kind of keep that between us there. Just something entertaining to look at in some of the extended weather models. Take a look at the European 12Z total precipitation in inches. And in fact, I'm going to update this so we can get the most recent data. It is running as we speak. So as we go on in through actually tonight. There's a frontal system moving through the Pacific Northwest. Could be clipping Northern California as we go through the early morning hours Sunday morning. And then you see that kind of emerges with that colder air moving down across the region, and we start to get some of that snowfall across the higher terrain. And again, this is going to be the ushering in of that very cold air mass and precipitation all the way down across Southern California, especially the higher terrain. And then we have some reinforcing shots possible if we squall into the extended forecast. You can see a little bit more precipitation showing up there, and maybe a little bit more even for Southern California off through the fantasy forecast. I'm not going to worry about that too much just yet, though. Now, if we look at the temperature at about 925 millibars, you can really see things cool off. Look at this air mass just kind of drop down over the region. This is not a temperature anomaly. This is the actual temperature about 2,500 feet off the surface. And you can see how this swoops down the entire west coast of North America, down across the southwest. It's pretty hard to cool things off at this level here across portions of Arizona. The sun is still has some strength to it here through late October, but you can see we're going to be cooling things down quite dramatically, and then potential reinforcing shots making their way down the west coast as we go on in towards the end of next week. So taking a look at the anomaly at 5,000 feet, this is even more impressive looking. As you can see, that Gulf of Alaska storm spilling its cold air down across the west coast of North America. Look at that temperature anomaly that is coming here by the time we go towards Tuesday morning. Very nice to see that. I mean, look at this, just manna from heaven. And then potential reinforcing shots as we go through the upcoming week here. So it looks like we're going to be below normal for a bit of an extended period as we go on into the early portion of November at least. But then as we squelch into the future enough, you can see we do get some high pressure across the Great Basin. We start to drive a bit of some offshore winds here. So we'll be watching that one. It's way off into the future. And again, we won't get too caught up in that just yet. We've also got some wave action. I want to show you this. So as we go on in through Sunday, you can see the increase across Northwest California. That's going to track down across the Bay Area, Central Coast, and Southern California by the time we get towards Monday afternoon. So pay attention to your local forecast here if you have any special interest on that wave action out there. If you're going out to the coastal regions, watch out. You could get some rip currents and sneaker wave action there with that. We get a bit of a break as we go through the midweek period, and then another shot out of the northwest also to bring an increase in the wave action as we go towards next weekend. Total snow in inches, National Blend of Models. We've been revisiting this daily, and kind of nice to see some of the snow coming as we go through late October on in through early November. And as we go through the day Monday, you could see that piling up across some of the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada. Even Southern California, the higher peaks, will get a little bit of dusting of snow, it looks like. And then we've got some additional chances there as well. So yeah, we're just going on into early November here. A lot of this is likely to melt, of course, because at some point we're going to get warm-ups as we go through the month of November. So except for maybe the extreme highest portions, a lot of that snow is going to melt. It's kind of a shame there, but it does a good job of wetting the ground. And when you get snow versus rain, rain tends to run off more. But if you sit snow there and you melt it fairly slowly, it tends to saturate the ground, and it helps out with drought conditions better than if you just dump a bunch of rain across some of the, any of these higher terrain areas due to that runoff. Now, to look at a 2-meter temperature anomaly, we're still above average here as we're going through this weekend, but quickly as we go on in through Monday, look at this cooler air arrive, and this is at the surface, and this is below normal. Some areas you're looking at 20 degrees below normal across some of the region here, and then again, potential reinforcing shots as we go towards next weekend, keeping things fairly chilly out there, so nice to see it. And if we go far enough into the future, you can kind of see temperatures bouncing back a bit. Nothing to worry about yet. Daily 2-meter minimum temperature I do want to show as we go through Monday and Tuesday morning. Look at some of these chilly temperatures. Wednesday morning, you're seeing a 39-degree reading across the San Joaquin Valley, and maybe Redding or Red Bluff as well. So yeah, you're going to see some jackets out, no doubt, as we go on into the end of the month. And it might be pretty chilly for trick-or-treaters as we go on into October 31st. Daily 2-meter maximum temperature, you'll see these really drop off as well. A lot of these highs as we go through Monday are not even going to reach 70 degrees, as I mentioned earlier. There's Tuesday, something similar. Look at the deserts really cooling off portions of Arizona. Nice and comfortable out there. Here's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can see we remain relatively cool as we go on into the early portion of November coming up. 6 to 10 day, no shocker here, below normal across much of the west coast, and there's the above average kind of across the Intermountain West. You know, we've got some chances here, but these are inside sliders. We're not dealing with any big atmospheric rivers or big precipitation coming up. You know, Northwest California is going to get a decent shot for some of that rainfall here tonight, but again, it's not that much. These inside sliders are usually fairly dry. But anyway, yeah, I got a late start this morning. I was out chasing that wind event on the Washington coast till about 3 in the morning, so only got a few hours sleep last night. But here I am, ready to go for the day. And otherwise, yeah, click like and subscribe. We will do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.